Good evening, ladies and gents, and welcome to Back of the Shelf, the show that tries to bring love to the underappreciated corners of our hobby, those sun-blushed games left in the window. We all know what those are. Allow me to introduce my friends and co-hosts. David, say, all right, treacle.
All right, treacle.
Very nice. Gerald, say, evening, governor.
Evening, governor.
There you go. That's for our London audience. Hopefully he's happy with that. How are we, gents? How's our
Very well,
week been?
thank you. Very well. How are you been?
Good, thank you.
Weary. I'm weary, Gerald. Are we going that way, are we?
Yeah.
It was my daughter's party this weekend. She had a sleepover last night. It was
Right.
It's been emotional.
Okay. How are you holding
Very
up right
emotional.
now? Are you okay?
A little bit tired, Gerald. A little bit tired.
Fair enough.
How are you all?
No, very well, thank you. We managed to
How's
play
it?
some board games this week, in fact.
Yay! What did you play?
Yay! Board games. What did
True.
we play? Oh, do you know what I really enjoyed? Getting back to the table. Chinatown.
Yeah, that was good.
It's a
That
nice
was
one.
nice
Every time, I forget how amazing that game is.
Mhm.
It makes me so happy when we get to play it. Just delicious.
The most group dependent game I think I've ever played.
Yeah. Funny enough, it popped up on Instagram a couple of times. I saw some people playing it, and they were saying exactly the same thing. Can you
I've never had a
imagine
bad game of
playing
it though,
this?
so we're lucky. I think we're
You've
very
got such a
fortunate.
wonderful group around you, Dave, isn't it?
Well, I like to think I bring something to the table. Do you know what I do bring to the table in that game?
Tell
I'm
us.
a right bastard. I've realised.
Oh, you turn into a bastard, Dave, when you play Chinatown.
Well, it was your wife that made the comment actually, because I think she
Why is that
gave.
bastard?
Like she was like, oh, like you can have this, and then later on she was like, oh, could I have that, Dave? And I was like, yeah, you can for 200 grand. And it just turns into a ridiculous.
That's
game.
your negotiation, isn't it? Regardless of negotiation, it's for 200 grand.
Yeah, I start at 200 always.
Yeah,
which is ridiculous.
It's very fun.
Man,
Love
it was
it.
fierce.
What else did we
Fierce.
play? We played some other
We played-
stuff, didn't we?
We played Honga finally,
Yeah,
a
we
game that
did.
I've been wanting to play for a long time, which is a family game, I guess, from Harbour. It's great for children, I'd imagine. As you've said, Jerry, your kids love it, but it also just was really fun just playing with 5 adults. Well,
Yeah.
5 people that should be adults. It was really nice. Yeah, really nice game. It had some really nice things going on. That temple track. Actually, something I've not really seen in a game before, and I suppose it's because it's a family game. It's got to be fairly straightforward. But the little temple. I suppose it's a temple track, right? You all move up a temple track, and then whoever gets to the top first, they score the highest points, and everyone that's beneath them scores their points. Then it all resets and starts again. I thought that was a really nice little touch.
It's
It was
quite
really
nice.
fun.
You don't have to wait until like at the end of an age or something, or an end.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the ultimate thing is Honga, the saber-toothed tiger. If you don't pay attention to Honga on your turn, Honga will come and sit at your space and eat your food every
that.
turn that it sits
Love
with
it.
you. So it was great fun. Yeah, loved that.
Good fun. We
played
finished the
something
evening. We finished on Ethnos.
Yes,
Got
Ethnos.
Ethnos back to the table.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a serious evening of gaming. Do you know what? I do kind of like. Maybe it was even a bit too late to get Ethnos out. I underestimated how long it was going to take because we played
It went on a while, but it was great.
players. It shouldn't do,
Yeah.
though, should it? I mean, what do you have to
To be fair, we'd all forgotten sort of how to play.
There's that.
That is a tense game, isn't it? I'd forgotten how
man.
tense that game is.
When that
You know,
first
you've
dragon
got
comes
you've
out,
got just enough time to do stuff, but
Yeah.
not enough time to do everything. Oh, I
Yes.
love it. Really, really clever.
delicious fun. Ben,
And
have
we
you
played
managed to play any
Century
games? Oh, God, I
Century
forgot about
Golem as well, which is fantastic.
The Splendor Killer, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's the Splendor Killer. I like Century. I like it a lot. I like
It's very
it.
quick.
It's
very
okay.
quick. It's a bit quicker.
It was.
So that is a game.
You're just trading. You're just moving cubes. That's genuinely just a sort of
Well, no, we got the Golem one, so it's
crystals for
or
crystals,
Golem one.
isn't it? It's like,
yeah, but do you know what? When I first played that game, Ben, I thought exactly the same thing, and I hated it. I thought it was awful, and then I played it a second time, and I thought, this is really, really clever. Why did I not like this? And now, whenever I play it,
because you're shallow.
yeah,
You're fickle. You're a fickle man.
that's it. It's because I'm a very shallow person.
Now,
But I like it now. So did I have a complete turnaround? Wow.
What's awesome about that game is because it's like the timer element at the beginning when you're trying to build your engine in the form of those exchange cards, and you're waiting for that first person to go for that first golem card, and that's when the game kind of kicks in. And by that point, it's like it's almost too late to collect any more cards to build that engine. You've got to use what you have because it comes that race game. I think it adds to what Splendor provides.
I always fail as well. I always go for the most expensive one because they're the biggest points. But you did the right thing of going for the cheap ones.
I like cheap and cheerful.
If you go for the cheap ones and you get the coins at the top of the first two as well, which give you extra points, you had about 30 points just from little coins.
Oh man, I love it. And kill the game quickly, destroy the game, end it before anyone can have any fun. Yes.
That's the way to play it.
That's it. Then what
always play all games.
Not a lot. Amber was away at school camp, so I didn't get. But I did get to play on Tuesday. I showed Amber and Kelly, and Chris was here. Played Dune Imperium again.
Nice.
That's such a great game. That is such a great game. Everyone. It was a mental load because I was teaching them how to play, and the two girls were so nervous about making a mistake. But it's so intuitive that everything they didn't make any mistakes. They were just like, "Oh, I can do this with this." Like, yeah, you can absolutely. It's such an intuitive game. But I was, doing that thing of checking two people's games while I was trying to play my own. Oh man,
what's the theme like? Does the theme add anything, or is it just a game that could be anything else? Because I don't know. I know nothing about Dune. Zero. So, I know it's got big sandworms in it.
From what I played, I think it's a great deck builder, worker placement. But you could pretty much put any theme on that.
Could be anything at all.
Sure.
I get excited. I know everything. Not everything. Sorry, I know a lot about Dune. So not everything is a lot there. So when the things come up, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that's cool because that kind of does tie in with what they are in the book and what they are in the story. But yeah, Amber has no idea about what Dune is, so she can play that game without any sort of a link to it. But I get quite excited.
Probably something that's quite awesome about the game, right? You don't necessarily have to be a fan to enjoy that, and you go in like cold on it, and it's still a great game. Have you got plans to go see it?
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, I'm going to London to see it in a week tomorrow. Actually,
nice, very nice. Yes.
I know nothing about it, so I'm hoping the film's quite accessible because otherwise I'm just gonna be lost. Because I've tried watching the David Lynch one. I remember that from my childhood.
Purge that from your memory.
It's not in my memory. The only thing I remember is the giant sandworms, really, and the fact that it's got Carl McLachlan in it. That's all I remember of it. So
and Sting.
Oh yeah, Sting's in it, of course. There you go. I'd even forgotten that. So, I was going to say something, but I forgot what it was. So
cool story, bro.
Okay, so we'll move swiftly on. Thanks very much. Okay,
actually, no, wait. I was going to say something. Sorry. It's been a big weekend, hasn't it? It's been Essen this week.
Oh yeah, of course.
Has anyone been following Essen?
We have no interest in Essen here. We like old games. It's quiet games. We don't like the razzmatazz of Essen. Dear, David, come on.
Some good stuff coming out. It's quite interesting. Anyway, carry on.
And we'll talk about it in about 5 years when it's dropped off the radar.
It's true. It is true.
It is a blizzard of stuff. I thought it was bad only a few years ago. I'm looking at stuff coming out. There's so much coming out that I do not know how games can stand out at the moment. It seems such
it's only
even worse.
What is it? There's something like 400 and like just under 500 apparently new games this year, and that's like a third of what normally comes out. That's crazy. And even then, there's games I'm hearing about new games every day that I've never heard of before. And I'm not particularly following it strongly. I'm just watching a few like good channels that I enjoy, like watching their vlogs of it. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff. When you see people walking around, it's like, my God, every different booth has about 5. Well, that's not true, but every booth has got at least one new game or two, and there's a lot of booths there. So I can't imagine. I can't imagine keeping up. Well, sure, yeah, it's a big sales convention, isn't it? But I can't imagine keeping up on a regular year, let alone this year. Anyway, You're right. We don't talk about that. We're talking about we'll wait for those.
Anyway, thank you, David. That was tremendous. So tonight we're going to continue with our Chinwag series. about one particular game that we're going to have a good old natter about. But before all that, it's time for some jingly jangly.
Does that mean I put the
Yes,
screen up?
yes, David, we talked about this already.
It's been
Jeez,
ages. It's been ages, hasn't it?
What the hell?
Well,
God, I've got
actually, you haven't,
palpitations.
because I didn't write the name of the game on there. I just did a little poster it in the theme, and also I kind of felt later on, everyone, you'll find out how that fits the theme of the overall show.
Exciting. Bookend
Oh,
beginning,
yeah.
all that.
Okay. Well, they'll know already because the title will be in the playlist, won't it? Okay, sure. Right, this week we've got a new game, a new fun game.
Is it though?
Yes, it is. You're gonna love this one.
Okay.
This week, I am going to ask our contestants to guess the film and or game based on nothing more than a famous quote from the film. So there are lots of board games based on films. I am going to read you a quote. We're going to take it in turns. I'm going to read you a quote from this film, and you have to name that film. Now, if you get that wrong, the second person can try and get it. But if you get it right, the second person can get a bonus point if they can name and this has to be exact. If I click on the theme on Board Game Geek, say whatever film it is, there's a number of games come up. If I rank them, which game comes top ranked exactly? I have to have the exact board game name because some of these films have many board games.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. I think I've got it.
Okay.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Alphabetical. Here we go.
You're going to be doing the voices of the characters doing the line?
Absolutely not, because that would just ruin it. I'm going to read them as plainly and as boringly as possible. Okay?
Okay.
Awesome.
Ready? David, you're 1st. So, David, are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. Quote. You're going to need a bigger boat.
Jaws.
Jaws. Well done, David. Excellent. Gerald, you can get a bonus point if you can name the highest ranked game exactly in the Jaws film family.
Jaws.
Well done, Gerald.
What? That was
nice, easy one to start.
Mine better be that easy.
Yes.
Gerald.
Nailed it. Yes.
Here's yours.
What were the options? Jaws.
In Jaws.
Games. Yeah.
Jaws, there's a couple in Jaws, but don't worry, it gets heavy as we go. There's dozens in some of them. Okay. Quote. Gerald, this is for you.
Sure,
Quote. Your scientists were so preoccupied with whether they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
Jurassic Park.
Well done, Gerald. Jurassic
Thank
Park.
you.
Now then, David, can you name the highest ranked game in the Jurassic Park family?
There was only like one game for Jaws, surely. With Jurassic Park, there's loads. I'm going to go with Jurassic Park Unmatched.
Oh, not bad.
Was it a Funko one?
It was Jurassic Park Danger.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Everyone knows that.
Surprising.
I don't know. I wasn't happy with the Unmatched one because it's not really Jurassic Park thing, so I chose not to have that one. Yeah, didn't like that.
What? It's Jurassic Park themed.
No, I didn't like that. It's not really a right thing. So, well, that's controversial. I tell you what, if it comes down to one
No.
you,
That's not controversial. That's just pure fact. It's fully licensed.
No,
there is
I
no
didn't like
black
it.
or white in that situation.
I tell you what, if it comes down to a final point, I'll make a judgment at the end. Okay, we'll see how it goes.
Well,
right, David.
Here we go.
Quote.
Yeah.
Is this going to be another stand-up fight? Oh, sorry. Is this going to be a stand-up fight, sir, or another bug hunt?
Starship Troopers.
Incorrect.
Oh my God! No, I know what it is.
Gerald.
What an idiot! Oh my
Gerald.
God. It's such an easy one. I can't believe it.
Oh
my God! It's
Bug Hunt. I don't know, Ben. I don't know what it is.
Can I have it back, please?
No, David. Well, you can say it, but you're not getting it.
It's Aliens.
That's correct. I'm embarrassed for both of you.
I'm embarrassed for myself.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry, everybody.
Gerald,
Yes.
your quote.
Yeah.
It's a
we're not
Sicilian
doing the game.
message.
Oh.
No, you don't get bonus points. You both got it wrong. I'm embarrassed.
Good for that.
Embarrass
That'd be
yourself
very
any further.
difficult. I think I know that.
Gerald.
Yes.
Quote. It's a Sicilian message. It means Luca Brasi sleeps with the fishes.
Oh, that's Godfather.
Well done, Gerald. Now then, David, you get the bonus if you can name the highest ranked game.
It's got to be Godfather Corleone's Empire.
Well done, David. Good knowledge. Excellent.
I want to play
David. Yes. I hear that's the best of all of his
I've heard
games.
it's very good, yeah.
David, your quote. If my calculations are correct, when this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're going to see some serious shit.
Back to the Future.
Yes, well done, David. Now then, Gerald.
Yes.
Tough one. Now they're getting difficult. The highest ranked game in the Back to the Future family.
Don't you dare say unmatched.
Is it? I don't know what it's called actually. Back to the Future, the dice game.
That is incorrect. It is Back to the Future, Back in Time.
Oh.
Oh, come on.
Sorry.
Everybody knows that, Gerald.
Oh, they get tricky now. Okay, here we go. Gerald, your quote. I don't know what the hell's in there, but it's weird and it's pissed off, whatever it is.
Ooh.
The Thing?
Oh, Gerald, well done. Excellent.
Oh, thanks.
Right, David. That was a tough one. David, the highest ranked game in the Thing family.
Oh, man. It's just got a bit... I don't know. I think there's a few based on like the original book and old film and stuff.
That's correct.
I'm just going to go with The Thing, though. I think it might be The Thing from Mondo. I'm not sure.
That's incorrect. It's The Thing Infection at Outpost 31.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say Outpost 31. But I couldn't remember
which Outpost it was.
Of course we were.
I know this. That is from, I believe that's from Mondo Games.
Yeah. Yes,
Check me. Well, I'm checking myself.
Right, David, quote.
Yep.
This is Jack Burton in the Pork Chop Express, and I'm talking to whoever's listening out there.
Oh, so easy. Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, very good. Gerald, what's the highest ranked game in the Big Trouble in Little China family?
Big Trouble in Little China, the board game.
Oh, it is. I'll give you that one.
That's so easy.
Gerald.
What other thing would it be?
Actually, I don't know any. I can't think of any other versions of that.
Just to confirm, the Mondo game is The Thing, Infection at Outpost 31. So I think I should get half a point.
No, there's no halves. I'm just doing X's here. Right, Gerald.
Yes.
Quote.
Okay.
I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer.
Oh.
I must not fear. Fear. Mind killer. I don't know, Ben.
Okay, Gerald, David, do you want to have a go?
I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. No, I don't know.
It's Dune.
Oh.
Dear.
Well, there you go.
It's bad. Dave, highest ranked game in Dune family is Dune Imperium, of course.
Yeah.
David, your quote. You seem like a decent fellow. I hate to kill you. You seem like a decent fellow. I hate to die.
Princess Bride.
David, I'm impressed. Well done. Now then, Gerald, what is the highest ranked game in the Princess Bride family?
Princess Bride, the board game.
Incorrect, Gerald. It is the Princess Bride adventure book game.
Oh.
Yeah. Final one. Here we go.
Okay.
So Gerald's quote.
Yeah.
Jane, how many weapons you plan on bringing? You only got the 2 arms. I just get excitable as to choice. I like to have my options open.
Oh, is that Firefly?
That is not Firefly.
Oh.
David.
Oh.
David's thinking hard.
David's thinking so hard he's gone completely still.
Everyone's internet
Hello,
cut
David.
out
Sorry.
for me. I'm here.
Yes, no, your internet cut out. So,
dear.
What film was it?
Oh, that's a shame. I said it. As did you not hear me? I said it when my internet cut out.
No. If you could just repeat it, please.
Oh no, it's doing it again.
David, are you?
Okay.
Okay. What film was it from? David?
Hello, I'm still here. I'm not sure. I don't know who Jane is. I just got excited about the choice. I don't know. A Western?
The film is Serenity, based on Firefly, the TV show.
Of course it is. When you said Firefly and you said no.
Sorry. Rules the game. Apologies. So let's have a little counter. Gerald, you got 5 points. Well done.
Thanks.
And David. Oh, David, you got 5 as well. Oh, I guess I'm going to have to give you that bloody Jurassic Park thing, aren't I?
What? No, it's the thing.
No, you're not having the thing. You're not having the thing. You can't just say.
Oh, the Jurassic Park unmatched thing.
Yeah, the Jurassic Park. Yeah, okay.
And the thing.
It was a
7 points.
It was a grey area on that one. Yeah, there we go. No, that gives you the 6. You're not the one to club. Okay, that was fun, wasn't it? That was a good one.
It's great. Congratulations, Dave.
Thank you.
Well done, Dave. High five for you. Oh, okay. That brings that brilliance to an end. Now we're going to move on to the chin wag. So this week we are talking about a game called, and we've mentioned it several times on this show. The game is Deep Sea Adventure.
Bing.
Designed by Jun Sasaki and Goro Sasaki. I hope I pronounced this correctly. Released in 2014. There it is. Up there you go. Right. Now then, first thing, before you gather your thoughts, any idea who the artist was in this game?
No idea.
No.
Because it's unclaimed on Board Game Geek, so I don't have any idea either. So I'm guessing one of these guys did it.
I'm scared. I'll argue that really it's more just graphic design than art in there. It's a very minimal game, isn't it?
They wouldn't list that as the artist?
I'll have a look. I don't think so. Well, yeah, they should, but I don't know.
Well, it's not. I can take it down. So,
artist NA.
The art. Okay. How do we feel about, let's say, the graphic design then? Gerald, how do we feel about the graphic design in Deep Sea Adventure?
I feel good about it, Ben. I think it reflects what Oink Games is trying to do in their minimalism, and it portrays it very well. If you look at the box art, it gives away pretty much what the game's all about. I'm a fan of the art. I like it. I like its simplicity, and also it looks rather snazzy when it's on the shelf. Yeah, thumbs up.
Sorry, I should take a few steps back here. We have a discussion about which game to choose for Chinwag, and David has not insisted. They really wanted this one, so I'm hoping he's going to do a lot of heavy lifting here, because I mean, yeah, my art box is kind of open. I'm like, yeah, I guess it's functional. I guess it does the job. I'm not going to say it's work of art, but it's fine.
Yeah.
That's what I did notice.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, the numbers on the back of the tiles, right? The number on the thing, they seem strangely out of place to me. Whereas everything else is kind of cutey, the numbers look funny. But yeah, apart from that, David, how do you feel about the art? Our resident artist.
Yeah, I like it.
Thanks for that, Dave. Sorry, I was
momentarily teasing. I think this is one of the most. This is going to sound awful, but I'm going to follow it up with something. So please don't cut me off as I say this. It's one of the most functional looking games that I've seen, and in that everything is just straightforward. The graphic design is it's very simple. For people that don't know, the pieces have just got numbers on. I mean, we'll go over this when we talk about the gameplay, but the pieces have got numbers on, so that instead of numbers, they've just got little dots. So it's 1 dot, 2 dots, 3 dots. The submarine is just a submarine shape with little numbers on, little dots that you move along. The dice are just regular D6, but they only go 1 to 3. Very clear, nice wooden dice, nice colourful meeples. And you've got little circles with crosses on that represent when you remove treasure from the track. It's all just very functional, but it looks fantastic on the table. It's very minimalist. I think Oink Games are known for their minimalist style. That's kind of the point of them. They're small box games with a small amount of components that offer a nice little game. And Deep Sea, I think, is probably their flagship title for that, because it does exactly what it's supposed to do. It shows you in a very clear, simple way what the game's about. And it looks great on the table because you've got the different colours that the deeper the tiles are, representing a deeper ocean, the darker blue they are. So you start with light blue and go all the way down. It just looks really nice. It definitely attracts attention. And if art in games is designed to attract attention, then this game succeeds in a major way, because I've not played this game without people admiring how it looks, or when we've played it in public, having people stop and ask what it is. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Which leads us kind of nicely on to the next thing we usually talk about, which is the components. So, components. I'll tell you my thoughts just quickly, obviously, because I'm in charge. There is one thing that irritates me ever so slightly about the components.
What?
Those guys could be a little clearer about which way they're pointing. Like, if you're paying attention, fine, fair enough. But sometimes it gets lost. I mean, if you just had maybe one side painted, or a more pointed.
What guys?
The divers.
Oh, the ladies or gentlemen in their diving suits, you mean?
Yeah, guys, whatever. In the universal guys. The because it's not 100% clear. Or it took me a little while to realize, and certainly if you lean back from the table, it's not always clear which way they are.
But it's
pointing.
It's not important either.
Yes, it is. It's massively important which way they're pointing.
It doesn't matter. If you're talking about in terms of whether you're choosing to go forwards or backwards, it's only important when you announce it on your turn whether you're going forwards or backwards.
Yeah, but we've played it a few times. We've had a few beers. There's lots of table talk, lots of chatting around. It's sometimes, unless you're paying attention 100%, sometimes that can get lost. Was that guy pointed this way or that way?
Well,
did you say you're going back up, not going back up? I could.
There's a major lesson there, isn't there, Ben? Don't drink and dive.
Don't drink. Yeah, that's true. No, unless you.
You're welcome, audience. Yeah, I see your point, but in terms of gameplay though, it isn't important, because the point of the game, you're supposed to announce before you roll your dice whether you're going to keep going or turn back. And once you've turned back in this game, you can't then change your mind. You have to keep going back by that point. Sorry, that was very confusing. You have to go back. You can't keep going downwards. You have to go back. Once you've made that decision, you're locked into that decision. If you're going to forget whether or not you turned back on a previous turn, then I'd say you've got bigger problems than whether or not your meeples are facing the right way.
It's not just about whether you remember it. It's so everyone can see, isn't it? Because whether people have turned around or not is quite an important thing. And it seems like such a simple fix. Just paint one side, with a face mask or something. That would be. It seems like a simple exercise.
I see your point. I see what you're saying, but it's I mean, you're completely wrong, but I see your point.
How do you feel about the components, David?
Yeah, I like them.
Yeah,
they're good.
This is gonna be a short show.
No, I love. I mean, it kind of comes into my art thing, but I really like the components. The everything's really nice, and like the tiles themselves are nice. I've never encountered. I don't think I've encountered tiles quite like these in any other games. They're cardboard, but they're really nicely. Like, they're nice and thick, but they don't feel just like regular cardboard. They feel like they're coated with something. They're quite almost like plasticky. They just feel really robust, and really nicely done. And the meeples, the little diver meeples, which is nice. The dice are just wooden dice with 1 to 3 on them. And you've got the all important submarine at the top. Everything just looks great. I've said this already, so everything looks great.
No, you know what? Now I'm thinking about it. No, I do have one other little gripe.
Oh no!
The dice are not abnormally large, and the submarine is very small. And I could have done with that being the other way around. So you can see quite clearly how much oxygen is left, whereas the dice could be much smaller than they actually are.
The dice are just regular D6 size.
Oh, mine aren't. Mine are big guys.
Sounds like you've got a.
I got big wooden dice.
Yeah, they are wooden dice, but I think they're pretty regular. So I don't know. They're regular.
Oh, I could do a smaller dice. The submarine could be bigger, and that little red chip that goes on the submarine could be bigger.
Yeah, but then the box would be bigger. I mean, that submarine does pretty much fill the box in terms of width and length.
Just fold it in half, didn't you? If you didn't have to have a submarine, you could have a long, thin one and just fold it in half and off Bob's your uncle.
This feels like nitpicking now. This feels like you're out to sink this game.
You wanted this one to come up, so I'm trying to think of constructive criticisms. But there are obviously, there's no perfect game. There are things that do. The number of times the red chip got knocked off the submarine. Oh, Jesus, where was that now? So that could be
you and your group needs to calm down on the drinking before playing games. Get some caffeine in your system.
Speaking of, we were in a campsite. It was absolutely pissing down rain. We'd put up a couple of tarpaulins. This was perfect for that, right? I'm not getting out, Chinatown or Space Hulk for that sort of thing. This was absolutely perfect for that. It's
Do you not agree
size, really small.
Yeah. The components are quite robust as well, aren't they? They feel
robust.
Yeah.
Those tiles. It worries me that you've never seen tiles like that before. That's a standard.
They just feel a bit plastic. I don't know. They just feel coated.
They're solid.
Yeah, they are. I don't think I've seen other cardboard tiles like that in games. I can't think of any. I mean, they're not. It's not that they're anything particularly different. They just feel like they've got a coating on them, and I've not really encountered them before. It's all pre-punched as well, so maybe that's why. I mean, it's I don't know.
Well, once you've got like 20 components, I don't know if that's.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like it's if you get board games, you can't have coating on cardboard if you're going to punch them out. So I guess games that are pre-punched are probably can do that.
See, maybe.
Jerry, you're very quiet and you look a bit disgruntled.
Well, no, don't worry. Joe's going to chip in, unless he has something massively deep to add to the components part.
No.
Okay, Gerald, could you explain the rules to us?
Sure. So in Deep Sea Adventure, it's a press your luck. Again, minimalist game coming from Oink Games. I think this is I would argue this is probably their flagship release. If you know Oink Games, you probably know Deep Sea Adventure.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, players are all playing rival divers competing to get the most treasure. And as I understand it in the rules, the theme behind it is that the expedition hasn't been funded very well. So we all have to share one crappy submarine, and we all have to share one crappy single air supply, which counts down as we undertake our explorations of the deep sea. So each turn, players move down this line of treasure tokens, the tokens that you've just been talking about, which increase in value the further you get away from the submarine. And you do so by rolling some dice. And Dave's mentioned they are D6, but they only go up to 3. As you go deeper and deeper down, you can decide to pick up treasure, and you put it into your personal supply, and you won't reveal that until the end of each round, of which I think there's 3 rounds. When you start to pick up treasure, obviously there's a burden on the diver to carry it with them, and so their air supply starts going down, and this is recorded on the track on the submarine. So every time a player who has picked up treasure moves around on these tiles, the air supply slowly drops. And so obviously once you've collected some treasure, you have to start making your way back to the submarine. The other thing that the treasure does is when you're carrying it is that it dependent on how much treasure you're carrying, it takes away movement points. So, for example, if you're carrying 1 treasure and you roll a 1, you're stuck. You're too burdened with treasure and you can't move anywhere. So it creates this, I mean, how do you describe that? Pain in the ass, where you want to collect as much treasure as possible, but you can't because your greed will eventually drown you. And, this is more into the mechanics of the game and anything, but possibly the best thing about this game, even though it's a wonderful push luck, is that the air mechanic, because it's so simple, the fact that it's shared. And so the second where someone starts picking up treasure, and it may be very early on the game, you could kind of if no one picked up any treasure, you can make all your way down to those really pricey treasure tokens. But as soon as someone picks up a treasure token, that's when the timer starts. There's a countdown to obviously grab what you can and get back to the boat. And at the end of the 3 rounds, we count up all our counters. Whoever's got the most treasure, value treasure, they win the game.
Are all the treasure tokens worth the same?
They're not. So they increase in value the further you go down. I don't know what the most valuable token is. They go up into the teens, don't they? That sort of thing.
Yeah,
I've never made it down that deep, to be honest, to find out.
You know what? The revealing the tokens is I don't barely remember doing that. The game is so fun. Everyone's having fun, trying not to die.
Yeah.
The tokens by the end is
the score by the end doesn't seem important, but the score throughout the game after the first round, and you're laughing because somebody's got 16 points because they just went deep enough, got the points and came back, whereas someone's got 0 and they've dropped all their treasure, because if you drop your treasure it sinks to the bottom and goes in a little pile, so it becomes these tasty piles that only count as 1 treasure. yeah, it's important throughout the game because it kind of keeps you going. But yeah, you're right. By the end of the game, you're not really. I don't remember scores for this game. I don't remember who won, who lost. It's about the game. During the game, the end game is not. Hey, let's do gameplay.
Now, there are two things I regard as genius on the rules. So you jumped the gun there, David, and the rules. One is the shared oxygen, which I regard as genius. That is an extraordinary. When I realized what was happening, and I remember that my sister, I played with my first time with my sister, me and my sister, and hello, Sadie, and we started playing, and you go down a few tiles, and I think she got to maybe just the start of those level 2 tiles, and then turned around. And me and Amber laughed and laughed, and you're gonna lose. We're gonna trash you. Little did we know, yeah. And then you died horribly. So that was. I thought that is genius. And the second one I regard as genius is the fact that you jump over. If there's a tile occupied by someone, you jump over them and you go past them. And that creates extraordinary. You might just roll, say, on the way down, you might just roll a 1 or 2, but depending on who's in front of you, you could end up going far deeper than you actually wanted to go, and now you're in trouble because now you need to turn around and try and get back, and they've all turned around, so they won't be in their way, so you can get your bonus. I consider that those two rules elevate this game from your very, very mediocre into genuine genius levels.
Yeah. I've got something to say about that actually, because you're right. The shared oxygen thing, because ultimately, this is a push your luck game, but if you were to go into more like what other categories could this be in, I'd say this is heavily semi-cooperative. But it's such a clever idea that you play a game like, say, another push your luck game that I really like, Ink and Gold, where you make a decision and it's your decision and it really doesn't impact anyone else unless there's like the artifacts out, and if 2 people go back at the same time, they don't get them, etc., etc. But in this game, every decision you make is part of a group decision, whether they want it or not. So when you move and pick up a treasure, you're affecting everyone around the table, and they know that, and it affects their decisions as well. Because if I pick up a treasure, then somebody else is going to not be affected by the move. They're not going to be weighed down by treasure, but they're going to be affected on the oxygen side. So it's going to push them to go, maybe I need to pick up treasure now, because if the oxygen's ticking down, then I better pick up treasure before the oxygen runs out so I can get back in time. And then everyone else around the table is thinking the same thing. So it's this kind of semi-cooperative idea where everyone's working for themselves, but everyone's decision affects everyone around the table. And we've even had games where, at the start of the game, we've all said, let's not pick up treasure for the first few turns to see how far down we can go. And we all do it like, yeah. But someone breaks every time because they know, it's well and good going as far down as you can. But when the first person picks up treasure, we're all going to have to pick up treasure. And what if I don't get down quick enough? I might as well stop now and pick up treasure early on. And then they ruin it for everyone else. And that's the game. That's the beauty of the game, because someone's greed, like you just said with your sister playing, your sister played the sensible game. You don't go too far down. You pick up the treasure, you get back, and at least you've got a few points, which is better than having no points. But there's always that extra decision, which is great in push your luck games in general. Do you go and get more points because you could just risk it? It's like playing the lottery, right? You might win, but you might, if you don't play, you definitely won't, but you might win. So should you just go for it anyway? And that's what Deep Sea Adventure does. It kind of makes those decisions. And no matter how many times you play this game, you'll always make those mistakes because you'll always think you've got a chance of winning just by going a little bit further. And it's just very clever. And also there's obviously the whole dice rolling thing, and you never know how far you're going. But you said about it as well, that leapfrog idea where you're jumping over people, it makes those decisions even harder, because if you've got a couple of people in front of you and you roll a 6, you're not moving 6 spaces, you're moving 6 spaces plus those 2 spaces that you're jumping over. So you're moving a lot further than you anticipated, so you never quite know how far you're going to go anyway. So yeah, it's good. It's got a lot more going on under the surface, to use an appropriate term, than you'd expect. It's Yeah, it's just that shared oxygen. I agree. That is, if it wasn't there, it would just be a regular push your luck game. But that shared oxygen track just makes it so clever.
Yeah, genius. Okay, so I think we've sort of covered it, kind of. But I mean, I would regard this. We're going to say how it plays, or I've put down what's the hook. No, so we're going for luck or strategy. I would probably regard this as the greatest push your luck game that I've ever played.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
I also
I can't think of many others where you genuinely sweat over the key moments. Do I pick up that treasure or not? Do I turn around or not? Do I drop this treasure or not? You know, the timing. I've never come across a game where it's so. There's such sort of cliff edge decisions. You can't take it back, right? You can't go back on it once it's been done. There's nothing you can do if you turn around too early. You know, it's not gonna go well. You know, you probably lose, but you want to be in the game still.
Yeah, we should mention just quickly that people might be thinking, well, why wouldn't you just roll the dice once, gather some treasure, go straight back up? But those number 1 tokens have a couple. I don't know how many, but they have zeros in them as well. So there's every possibility you'll pick up treasure that's worth nothing. So it's not till you get to level 2, which is a good 8 tokens down in the first round, that you just don't know what you're going to get. And over each round, the tokens that are taken or treasures taken, the track shrinks. So the higher level tokens are going to be closer and closer to the submarine in subsequent rounds. But yeah, there is that decision, isn't there? Like, you don't know what you're going to come back with. So yeah, you've always got that. Do I keep going? Do I not?
I can't think of any other push your luck games which have quite that. I mean, Lords of Vegas was a very push your luck, or it's a small part of it. The gambling in people's casinos, the rolling off for control of the casinos. That is a similar feeling, but I've never had anything quite so. Because if you lose control of the casino, fine, whatever, we'll get it back, you know, next year, and I'll just throw money on it until I win. This one is such a cliff edge.
Yeah,
it's done once it's done. All right. Okay. So would we say then, leading into this, would we say this is lucky or strategic?
I think it leans, even though it is, and I would argue, one of the best roller moves, because usually they're a little bit rubbish. It's roller move done right. I think it leans more to strategy than the luck of the dice. You can control, and generally you won't have much treasure to show for it, but you can obviously survive each round quite easily and not have to, you know, invariably drown and things like that. I think it's more strategy than luck. I think in the timing of not only yourself but the other players as well, which area you decide to pick up treasure, noting where everyone else is, so obviously mitigating the rolls by jumping over those other players. Yeah, I would lean more towards the strategy, but obviously anything with a dice in it, or a die rather, would have that element of luck. But no, I try not to rely on the die too much when I'm playing this one.
Well, because you can look at people's piles of treasure as well, and if they've got no treasure at all yet, well, you're going to have to go deeper.
And there's also that really malicious element of the game where if some people are going for it, Dave's kind of mentioned it before, you can pick up your kind of cheapo treasure and be like, yeah, I'm going to try and drown everyone and start going for it, whilst everyone else has gone perhaps too deep to make it back to the boat. There can be a cutthroat element to this game, which is equally as fun.
Yeah, there is when you've got 2 or 3 pieces of treasure, you are 1 or 2 spaces from the submarine, and that oxygen is running out real fast. You know, rolling that dice, and
you've got one turn to get back.
That's one of my favorite parts of this game, is when you are on that tile next to the submarine, and all you need to roll is anything
banging on the door.
One, right? You just have to avoid the 1 or whatever, and then they invariably hit snake eyes or whatever. It's like it's fabulous. I love that.
And also, Ben said it
to get back onto the submarine.
Well, you said it before, where, you know, a game that genuinely makes you sweat, but this is a game that is a small box game. It's very simple, and yet you do have those moments when you get back on the submarine. You're like, phew, I made it, and that's pretty phenomenal for a game that's so straightforward and so basic. Luck or strategy? I would say I agree with what Joey said. I think it's there's a fair amount of luck to it with the dice, but there is strategic. I'd say it's strategic. You've got to make those decisions. And another big thing is you're not allowed to look at your treasure value until you get back on the submarine. So you never quite know what you've got. So you've got to make those decisions of, do I keep going? And because if you roll the dice and you don't announce you're turning back, you have to keep going. That's just a penalty. So you've got to make that decision on when you need to turn back, because once you've turned back, you can't turn back round. And you can pick up treasure on your way back, but if that oxygen starts ticking down and if you land on a space where treasure has been taken, and you can choose to drop it, again, you've got to make that big decision. Do I drop a treasure, or do I just risk it and keep going? I've got a couple more turns maybe. Yeah, I'd say strategy is a heavy part of it. Light strategy, but strategy nonetheless.
Like, building on that strategy point, it's worth noting that every round things obviously reset and you put the treasure tokens out. But since players have already picked up treasure, the line gets shorter. So it's that timing as well, depending on the round in which you're playing, whether or not to go deeper, because those really high value treasures get closer and closer to the submarine as the rounds tick on as well. And then you're like, maybe I can get my greedy mitts on these treasure tokens this round. And you can go for on that third round, and everyone's just like, yeah, let's really push our luck. Let's just go for it and try and get. And Dave mentioned as well, those piles that have been dropped that count for just one token. Man, they are tempting to go for. But I'm pretty sure invariably I die whenever I try to do that.
Well, that's it. No matter how many times, you could have played this game 20 times before, you're still making those same mistakes.
Oh man,
because there's that element of, maybe this time I'll make it.
There's nothing better though when you play Deep Sea with that new player, and everyone knows what's going to happen. It's just like, because, and like, credit to the game, it's so accessible. It's very, very simple to explain, and on its face value, it is a very, very simple game. And when you play with that player who's never played Deep Sea before, and they just go for it, and they're like, yeah, I'm just picking up treasure. It's easy, whatever. Roll my dice, get back on the boat. Every
time I have to do one round, we'll say, right, we'll start again because you did.
Yeah, okay, practice round.
Well, we talked. I know we told the story before, but that we went to a game club once where you were stuck playing some massive Kickstarter game that learning the rules, stuck at the table, looking over, thinking, God, I wish I was over there. And I was at a table with strangers and brought this game out. None of them had heard of it before. None of them had seen it before. And they were like, oh, what's this? This looks a bit weird. Started playing it, and we had that immediately. Like, people were like, well, this is easy. I just keep rolling 6. Great. I keep going far down. You're like, don't forget the oxygen. I'll be fine. And then halfway through the game, they're sweating. They're halfway up the track, oxygen's ticking down. And people at the club were stopping and going, oh, what is this? And immediately, this sounds a bit hyperbolic, but they were like, oh, I think I'll get this, and looking it up online and stuff. It's got that. I mean, for anyone listening that doesn't know this game at all, it sounds like even though it's it sounds like quite a big game. It's 15 to 20 minutes long, and all this is happening in that time. So I think the fact that it's condensed as well, maybe that exacerbates that feeling. Maybe that's what makes it such a tense game as well. It just brings that into a condensed time limit. But it's definitely got that. Yeah, that beginner. I mean, it is just funny. It is funny watching people do it, but it's not. Everyone learns from it, and then they play again, and they do the same thing. Then they play again. Like, I'll keep doing the same thing, but maybe one day I'll win.
Okay,
I like this game. In case you haven't guessed, I like it. I like this game.
I think we all like it, don't we? I mean, it is. I didn't think we'd be able to talk about it for an hour, for whatever, 30 minutes, but you have surprised me. Okay. I think we agree we all like it. David, how does it end?
It never ends. It's a way of life once you've unlocked this game. It ends very simply. It's 3 rounds, and at the end, so a round being everyone either makes it back to the submarine, or half do and half die, or everyone dies, which is often fairly common.
It's when the oxygen runs out, or everyone's back on the submarine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so once the oxygen's out, wherever you are, you either have treasure or you don't. You flip your treasure over, then you go another round, and then you go another round. So there's 3 rounds total. Whoever has the most treasure in value at the end of the game wins. It's that simple.
Yeah, and as Gerald says, some of those, I didn't realize some of them were 0 the first time I played them. That was a horrible surprise.
Well, that's very clever, because that adds so much to the game, because you could go 5 steps down, grab a treasure, go back. Oh, I'm safe. You flip it over, it's a 0, or it's a 1.
Mm.
You know, somebody who's taken that little bit more risk has come back and they've got a 15. Like, oh, come on. So next turn you've got to go further. It's a very clever thing. Or you hope that they don't make it back on the next round, so that whatever treasure you do brings it a little bit closer. It's very clever.
Mhm.
No submarine trips with you, David.
Well, if we're going on a submarine where we're all sharing one oxygen tank, again, probably not.
Do you know what? Actually, one of the best things about Deep Sea, it being such a phenomenal game, is the player count. 6 players.
Yes.
And there's so few games because oh man, when you get to 6 players, everything drags. Not Deep Sea Adventure. It is the go-to 6-player game for me. If we've got a large group over, yep, Deep Sea Adventure, definitely all the way. It's
I think you didn't have large groups over.
Yeah, because I hate playing 6-player games. Genuinely, I really don't like it. It's so regardless of the game. Even like playing like viticulture and stuff. 6-player. Oh man, what a drag!
No, don't
do
do
that.
So long and stuff like that. They just turn into this arduous task. But Deep Sea Adventure, man, it's still as quick and as fun with 6 players or 2 players. It's
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
Actually, just for listeners' benefit, I've played this at 2. I think I've played this at every player count, and it is phenomenal at every player count. 2 is really strong. 3's I don't need to go forward. 2's really good. 6 is really good.
3
is really good.
strong.
3 is strong. 4 is
This is
strong.
what we're going to deviate.
Oh, here we go.
I regard it as significantly better at higher player count than lower.
Okay.
Because of those, when people are occupying spaces, that adds that element of trying to figure out when it's just 2 players. Nothing against you, Gerald, but we played 2-player at the hotel, didn't we?
We did.
I don't even think we got down to the level 3s. We just stuck it in the level 1s and level 2 cards. So, it was a little bit anticlimactic. Because we'd gone there thinking we were going to meet loads of people in that hotel bar. And get around. David was telling me the stories about everyone's shouting and bouncing around. Just me and you, sadly, rolling. So 2-player, I didn't think was very good, or not as good as it was. 3-player, okay. I think you need at least 4 or more to really experience this one. That adds the lower levels. That adds those piles of treasure at the bottom. There's much more.
That's the thing. I mean, Jerry's right. This is a game that it tends to come out when you've got larger groups. If you've got 3 players, you're probably not bringing this game out very often. Not that you don't want to. It's just that 3 players opens up potential for so many, and 4 players as well for so many other games. But it is a game that generally comes out in large groups. But I played this at 2-player as my very first experience of it. And that experience of it at 2 players made me fall in love with the game enough to buy it. So I think, it probably is, almost inarguably better with more players because it's a very social game. But it is good with 2 players. If there's only 2 of you that play games together, and this sounds like your type of game, it's still very, very, very good at 2-player. Unless you're Ben.
Okay.
Or apparently, unless one of those players is Jerry.
I'm sorry.
Okay, we're going to wrap this up. So Amber always says it always ends too quickly. So I've got some quick-fire questions. All these needs are 1 or 2 words.
Sorry, the podcast or
what?
So what were you saying?
Oh, David, that's poor. That's poor. This is a family show.
It was a cheap joke. It was a
family show. Watch yourself. Jesus. Right. So, quick fire question. All we need is 1 or 2 words just to sort of wrap this up. So, first question. What is the worst thing about this game?
I'm not playing it 24/7.
2-player count?
Yeah. I'm establishing some standard questions here.
The worst.
It has to be bad.
Okay, the worst thing about this game is if people aren't into small box games, or they just because I know a lot of people aren't into small games and they just want to play big, heavy Euros and stuff. This has got a lot of game in a small box, but I think because of the way it looks, I think certain people would be switched off it, and they would probably love it, but I think it might divide people based on that.
I tell you what, I think what I would say is, really, if you try and wrestle it down, you only make, if I'm going to be pedantic, you only make 6 or 7 decisions in this entire game. When to turn around, what to pick up, maybe 10, right? So that's not many decisions. But like you say, some people like making loads and loads of decisions all the time, you know. So it's not that sort of game. I would say that's probably a sort of weakness, maybe. I don't know. It seems like a pedantic thing, but there's not many decisions in it. I'd say that.
Do you know what? If I was going to really picky, it's keeping track of the air. That always it's always a bug keeping track of the air, and you need like one person to be like, "I will do the air."
Yes.
And check everyone because it never works when everyone does their own air.
Oh, absolutely! I have to have someone. I'm like, you do the air.
You
stop everyone else. If anyone goes to touch that thing, you slap them down.
Yeah,
you're doing the air.
That's it.
What would you call that person if you designated them at the table?
Do you have a name?
O2 person.
No, I'm asking you.
I don't know. Air person.
Oh.
I just probably call them by their name, to be honest. I mean.
Cool.
Right. Next question. Fans of which game would like Deep Sea Adventure?
Fans of push your luck games in general would like this. I think it's the easy answer, but it's true. If you played, I think I'm going to make an argument that Ink and Gold might be one of the most well-known push your luck games among gamers, and Deep Sea's probably up there, but I think Deep Sea's still fairly niche for a lot of people. Yeah, I'd say it's for push your luck gamers or any gamers, even not being push your luck, people that like party games and people that like social deduction games. Anyone that likes games where you're in some way interacting with each other, you know, shouting across the table, laughing and stuff. Any that likes those kind of games, even if they're not push your luck, would like this.
Yeah.
I try to think, because this is one of those questions that could be brilliant. But yeah, there's not many push your luck games that I can really think of that I would genuinely go for. I'm not usually a massive fan, especially there's not many with dice.
No,
except your standard like roll a move.
This game and playing other push your luck games made me realize that's a mechanic I absolutely love. Lords of Vegas with the gambling, I love anything you push your luck in. But yeah, Quacks of Quedlinburg is a big push your luck game that came out in recent years that's very, very popular. If you like that game and you've never played this or even heard of it, then check this one out because it's
that's a good call. That's a good call. I didn't really like Quacks. That's a good call. That's on that track, isn't it?
Quacks is good. Quacks is clever, very clever. It's just it's very almost solitaire in many ways, whereas this is, you know, it's push your luck and everyone's involved with each other.
That's a good call. That's a good one. Nice one, David. Well done. Right. Next question. How much would you spend on this game, Gerald?
Don't know. 15 pounds.
Well, people if people see it in the shop for this amount, immediately buy it.
I would buy it for £15.
Okay, thank you, Gerald.
No problem. I don't know. How much is it retail for? I have no idea, actually.
I think around
about that.
Yeah.
So what we're saying is it's an absolute bargain.
I think you normally it's like £12 to £15 is the general price of this.
I'd happily spend that on it. I think I did actually spend. In fact, I didn't. I have 2 copies of this game because you can find them real cheap on eBay, and I think I might have forgotten that I'd won it. I got it for around £4 or £5, which is that is a
steal.
I would easily pay double for this.
I have a lot of games, and I bought this. I think it was about £12 I bought it for, and I still argue. Well, don't argue. I say this is the best value game I've ever bought. In terms of what I paid for it and what I've got out of it, £12 for this. I mean, it's made it to the table. So I don't even know how many times I've played this game, and it has been phenomenal every time. So yeah, if you see it for 15 or less, then it doesn't matter whether you're paying £15, £10. You're going to get the value out of it.
Yeah, it's a bargain at that price. All right, I think we've actually already discussed it. But what if you had to have the perfect player count? What would it be?
5.
Yeah.
I'd say 5 or 6.
Do you know what? 4. I'll go with 4. Because then
Two.
you can play other things
other
as
people.
well. You can play other games at 4 players, and it's still
Once
okay.
you finish it.
Oh, we're factoring other games.
Yeah, you're not going to play a whole evening of Deep Sea, and so invariably when you move on, or you're going to probably end the night on Deep Sea or whatever. Yeah, you want that player count for other games as well. 4. I'm going with 4.
I'd say at least 5.
Yeah, I'd say if you've got at least 4, then you're gonna have. I mean, I've already said I think it's great with all player counts, but if you want to have that real group experience, then 4 or more for sure.
Okay. Final question.
Every game.
Final quick fire, because this is just whipping by. When should you play this game?
Oh,
in
now.
a game evening. When should you play it? Is it a warm-up game? Is it the main game? Is it the end of the evening
I'd
game?
say it's the end of an evening game, or if you're playing with strangers at the beginning, because it's one of those great icebreakers.
Yeah.
See, I'd always have at the beginning. I think that's
it
gets
can see
people
that,
going, get people thinking.
It is quite a high activity, like high energy game, isn't it? So I see that.
End of the evening, and like everyone's had a few games, a few beers, a few games. They want to think of it a little more sedate, right? Parade or whatever. This is start of the evening, rolling some dice, getting everyone going, getting the blood pumping.
Yeah, if you don't drink, then you can play this at any time. If like Ben, you partake heavily in alcohol throughout the evening, play this at the beginning. Because otherwise you get that situation of which way the diver's facing. Oh god,
who's keeping track of the air?
The oxygen. But I can see that. Start of the evening is a good one. End of the evening, if you're sober, it's also good.
Okay, nice. Right, we're going to wrap that up here, unless anyone has anything else to say about the game.
If you don't have this game, and it sounds like the kind of game you'd like, and you have the money, and it's not going to put you out in difficulty, buy it now. It is really. This is one of the games. I mean, all of the games I recommend on this show, I believe in. That's why I recommend them. But this is one game I can almost guarantee that you'll love it. It's one of those games. It's like we've explained it now. If by the end of this show you think, oh, this is a game I'd like, then there's nothing we've covered everything. It's exactly as we've described. So yeah, I'd highly recommend it. If you listen to this and think it sounds shit, then obviously you don't.
You know when you play some games and you get to the end, you're like, well, what do you think? And some people are like, oh, I really like that game. Some people are like, yeah, it was okay. And some people are like, I hated that game. I've never had that with Deep Sea Adventure. Every single person says that was great. I loved it. Yeah. I've never had a bad experience with it.
I wonder maybe if that. No, I don't know. It's just perfect. I think it's perfect, but it's also because of the time factor as well, isn't it? I mean, it's quite. Games have to be. Games like this that play in 20 minutes and do everything right. It would be quite hard for them to fail. I think. I'm not saying that short games can't fail, because they obviously can, but I think games like this, where they're so well designed, so cleverly designed, the fact that it's only like 20 minutes long, it's almost like how is it so good? So yeah,
this is the game. People talk about No Thanks. They have that game, right? This is the game. I don't really like No Thanks. It was like, take a card to put a token. I don't care. That game wishes it was Deep Sea Adventure. That decision, like, do I take it? Do I not? Oh, that game wishes it was Deep Sea Adventure. So anyone who likes No Thanks, this is the game. This is the one.
Throw it away. Get
that. Get this.
Yeah, it's one of those. This is a lesson in perfect design. I think really. It really is. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing, that shouldn't be there. Everything that's there it's there for a reason, and it works, and that's it.
Nice. Okay.
Cool.
Right, we'll call it a day there. Just a final thing. Rob, friend of the show, has asked us to read something. We're happy to accommodate. He asked very nicely, and clearly this has meant a lot to him. So I'm going to read this, and then we will say goodnight. It is with huge sadness that the board gaming community in Lincoln lost its most dear friend to cancer. Carl Brown was the owner of the local gaming store in the heart of Lincoln, and as a passionate gamer for most of his life, he grew the community in Lincoln for many years. He was an amazing character, always quick with a joke or self-depreciating comment. He was so welcoming to new people into the hobby. His passion exuded onto all of us, and he introduced so many of us to new and old games, as well as new friends. He fought cancer with such positivity, even buying a Ferrari in the last months of his life just because he'd always wanted to own one. To everyone who knew him, he was a great board gamer and an amazing friend. His light will shine brightly for many years to come. And on behalf of the Lincoln gaming community, I would like to pass on love and wishes to his wife Audrey, son Tom, and the brilliant staff at the game store. Carl, you will be truly missed. So, with that, good night.
Good night.
Good night.